Good morning, everyone. It's Friday, March 5th. And today we are here. This is Coffee and Headlines, our regular daily get together live here on Facebook every day of the week, 7 days of 7 days a week. Yeah, that's what it is, 7 days a week. And what do we do here? Well, as you know, we gather to explore headlines, comments, questions, ideas, topics, suggestions, tips, anything we can get our hands on to make sure that our lives here in Puerto Vallarta are better. For us, a community of English-speaking folk that consider this place home. If you're new to the broadcasts, just grab your favorite beverage. Let it be coffee, let it be tea, let it be rum. I don't know, it must be after 2 o'clock or 12 o'clock somewhere. And join us. Spend some time with us. My name is Paco, and if you're new to the broadcast, please feel free to let us know by writing the word new in your comments. If you have any important question that you wish to share during the broadcast, you can let us know by adding the letter Q at the beginning so that we can be watchful of that. Otherwise, feel free to talk amongst yourselves while Luna and I are keeping an eye on everybody. And everybody includes, of course, my sister who's watching from Mexico City. Good morning, por la morning. Mwah. Hermanita. Who else is here? David Dunphy is here. Happy Friday to you, too. Margaret Barrett is here. Good morning, Margaret. And Pat is chiming in from Bucerias. And another Pat is chiming in from La Cruz. And let's see who else is here. Jill went to the Patsy Cline Shindig last night. That's awesome. I hope it was good, and I hope it was well attended. Everybody's ready for Raymond's puns. Raymond, I hope you are ready to have Friday puns. Let's see what else we have here. Mark is happy to come back to Puerto Vallarta after vaccinations. That's wonderful news. Excellent to hear. More shots. Everybody's getting little pricks. That's wonderful. I love it. Michael says it's only 8:30 in the morning, but vodka works. I hear you. Let's see. Like your shirt, beautiful sky blue color. This is my shameless plug shirt for Mama Caguama's Tacos and Beer, soon to be included in our Tuesday taco initiative because the tacos at Mama Caguama's were absolutely wonderful. Let's see, Linda and Luna signing in from Fluvial. Yes, there is more than one Luna in the house, and that's perfectly okay. Today, we have all kinds of news with commentary attached to them, which is particularly challenging for me because there is the news, and then there's the context of the news that help us, or rather help you, better understand why the news are important or relevant. But in sharing that context, my opinion, it always sneaks out and it's not always pleasant. So I've just said that to make sure that my opinion stays where it's supposed to be throughout today's broadcast, because we have a couple of shady bits of news that are just so deliciously tempting to get opinionated about. But we're going to be nice. We're going to be nice. Linda says, I want that shirt. Well, mine is a little stinky, but you can get one at Mamacaguamas, and it was absolutely wonderful when I went. And we'll be going back for Taco Tuesday, and they have them there for sale. I saw it and I loved it. It has an inscription in the back that I forget right now, but and I'm not gonna take it up for you to see it because somebody lost a job. Somebody lost a job for spanking the monkey, and we're going to talk about this. It was, well, let's see. There goes my opinion. There goes my opinion. Let us start with the news. Okay, for starters, the age-old quarrel between tourism transportation companies and taxis is back in Puerto Vallarta, with a caravan of minivans traveling from the convention center to City Hall in protest. Let me explain this. By the book, if you own a minivan and have it properly registered to provide tourism transportation, you can offer transportation services to anyone that hires you in advance. People call you and say, take me from point A to point B. Whereas taxi cabs offer a different kind of service. Taxi cabs, you hail a cab, and the cab stops and takes you places. There are some cabs that you can call in advance, but for the most part, it's the difference in the services that transportation companies are set up so that you can coordinate usually transportation in larger amounts of people, groups and such. Whereas the cabs, if you're a group of 10 people, for example, and you're waiting for a yellow cab to go by that is large enough to fit 10 people, you could be sitting there for quite some time. Anyhow, taxis are complaining that some minivans are picking up passengers here and there, thus behaving like taxis. So to even things out, minivan companies have had to make payments to taxi cab companies in compensation. And this has been going on for years, but they're now unwilling to continue with this very uncomfortable arrangement because it is almost like extortion. So context, for those of you that haven't been in Puerto Vallarta for a long time, the taxi unions in Jalisco are really strong. Even our governor Alfaro, owns a couple of, I don't know how many, but he owns some taxi cab stands. I know this from a good source, something that I read somewhere. So when Uber or transportation vans started appearing, the taxi cabs have frowned about this because they think it's unloyal competition. Of course, we know that yellow cabs, at least here in our city, are very difficult to work with because if you want to go to point A and point B, you could ask the cab driver before you hop in, how much is it going to cost? And the price that you get back can be many different prices. There's no consensus. Taxi cabs here have failed to adhere to having a meter, as they have in other cities, or failed to adhere to standard fees or fares. And taxi cabs even attempted to come up with their own application for the cell phone, and it never worked. And of course, Uber came into the picture, and taxis have been ugly ever since. So I'm not saying that all taxis are bad, all yellow cabs are bad, but as far as we are concerned as consumers, I always recommend folks to get the fare up front. If you're going to take a yellow cab, just ask them, okay, I'm going to this place. How much is it going to be? And if you get some kind of ridiculous amount, simply say thanks and don't take the cab. But it is unfortunate because we have friends that make transportation, that operate transportation vans for a living, and it is unfortunate that the cabs seem to want to manipulate all this situation. We don't know exactly who's going to win on this one, but it is going on. All we can do is, as consumers, is to be attentive at making sure that we are not abused by outrageous taxi fares. Moving right along with the headlines, we learned this morning that after months of investigation, the former Distrito 5 bar, where former Jalisco Governor Aristoteles Sandoval was murdered, has been returned to its rightful owners. Of course, this is now a nameless place, and we don't know what the owners intend to do with the establishment. given the fact that a murder took place there. And according to the news source, there is still a warrant for the arrest of a man and a woman accused of committing the crime, but their identities have not yet been revealed, nor is there any progress in the case that we know of. In other news, we understand that now that improvements at El Salado estuary are apparently going to begin taking place, local environmentalists remain vigilant to make sure that the project designed to protect this protected area are followed to a T. There's been a lot of investors that have been eyeing the El Salado estuary for other purposes, but this remains a largely underappreciated natural park in the heart of the city where you can go and understand how these canals, these water canals, provide wonderful habitats for a number of species that live in the only estuary that we have in the city. And hopefully this is something that will be indeed improved as we move forward. In other news, we found out that 2 individuals were apprehended for fraudulent business practices equivalent to 1,400,000 pesos. Apparently, they were working on behalf of a local hotel group, or so they claimed, and they called the rightful owner of a timeshare to say that the hotel wanted to purchase the timeshare back for a larger amount than what this person originally purchased. And we don't know the details of how this happened, but they somehow managed to persuade this individual to deposit 1,400,000 pesos in some account so that they could avoid paying taxes in the United States and only God knows what kind of things. They managed to tell this person, and they were busted. They were busted misrepresenting the hotel. They were busted misrepresenting themselves, and now they are going to jail. The lesson to be learned here is timeshare, beware. I'm not saying that timeshares are all bad, but when somebody talks to you about timeshare and spending money and stuff like that, or when you get phone calls or visits at your home, please make sure that you are dealing with people that come from reputable places. Let me now turn to your comments on this series of news, and then we will continue moving forward. Let's see. Dum bidi bim bum bum. I am looking for cues. Fun puns with buns. Sounds like fun. I love it. Karen was there. I suppose you mean here at Tacos and Beer. This is wonderful. Let's see what else we have. James says, I've lost lots of jobs. I hope you can find them again. Thank you very much, Sean. I remember it was something important, but I didn't want to take my shirt off in the middle of the show. I can't make everyone happy. I am not a taco. I just love that. I don't know if you made it up or somebody gave you that phrase, but I love the fact that that's what it says on the back of my beautiful t-shirt. Let's see what else. Our experience with Uber is half the cost of the taxis, which is a good and a bad thing, Claude. And let me, again, share my own take. I do know, because I'm a frequent Uber user, that they have to pay a lot of percentages to the company, and they have to pay taxes and so forth and so on. So when you think you're saving money, well, that's a nice thing. But when you talk to Uber drivers and you find out what ends up being the piece of the pie that they end up at the end of the day, it's a lot less than you would think. So what I do for myself, and I encourage you to do it, you don't have to do it, is, I usually get my Ubers through my iPhone and pay through my debit card. And if you've used Uber before, you're asked to give a tip after the trip is over. And what I usually do is I leave a tip in cash, and that is usually appreciated by the drivers. And then I leave an additional amount in the system, which they will get taxed upon, unfortunately. But But that's my personal take on it. Julie, I am all over this idea. It's just a matter of scheduling. It's before I was not even sure if the estuary was open for visitors or not. Now it is the time in which we can certainly make a phone call to find out if we can go, and I would love to document it. I haven't been in a long time, and it's just really important, I think, that we are aware of the attractions that we have in our own city. We are the best ambassadors for these things. When we have friends that visit us from other places and they come to Puerto Vallarta and they ask, well, what should I do for fun? It is, we become the ambassadors of the city. So we will definitely be going to the estuary at some point. Let's see what else we have. Frank Borelli is new. Welcome, Frank. I hope you have your coffee nearby, and I hope you're having a good time. Feel free to ask questions about anything. If you're a local, if you're a tourist, well, ask questions too. But just ask questions. Just ask questions. Just get comfortable, and I'm so glad that you're joining us. That's a little harsh, but that's okay if that's I personally don't understand timeshares. I don't understand how they work, so I cannot have a strong opinion. But I have friends that swear by them, and they travel all over the world. So, to each his own. Let's see what else we have. Why is it so hard to get Uber in Bucerias? Does the company not have a contract in Nayarit? Clarissa, I am not Uber, so I cannot answer that question. All I can tell you, and this is my experience in Puerto Vallarta, not Bucerias, because this is where I live, is that Uber has been cutting so much money from drivers that a lot of drivers are starting to not want to drive for Uber anymore. This has happened to me increasingly in the last few months, that I try to get an Uber and I see that some Uber is heading my way, and then halfway through the wait, they decide, yeah, fuck it, I'm not going to take this. And all of a sudden, I am again on standby waiting to get another Uber. And I have found recently that the waits seem to be longer. So it could be that in Bucerias, the drivers themselves may not they may not feel like there's enough work over there, but I really don't know. I also know that Uber offers perks and challenges to the drivers. Like the other day, an Uber driver was telling me that if you complete a certain amount of money in rides on a single day, then they give you a bonus. So I mean, Uber has a way to reward their drivers, but specifically what's going on in Bucerias, I couldn't tell you. Let's see. Uber drivers are almost always incredibly decent. Some of them are actually sexy, Dan, let me tell you. But we're not going to go there. Can you do a walking tour sometime in the Mismaloya area and where the Night of the Iguanas was filmed? That would be a lot of fun, Linda. Unfortunately, that area is not accessible to the public. We would have to take a panga and have the panga drop us off on the beach, and we would have to do it illegally. I'd love to do it because I've seen those ruins and I have no idea what shape they're in today, but that sounds like an ambitious, fun idea. Maybe someday. How much are the Uber drivers taxed? I have no idea, Enrique. I don't remember the exact amounts, but I know that, let's say if you end up paying 80 pesos for a drive, the amount that they end up with is either close to or less than 50%. So if you think you save money by paying 80 pesos on an Uber, the driver ends up with like 40, 45 pesos from that. So it's not that great. Drivers need to really work hard at making a living with Uber. Let's see. I was told that Uber is not licensed in Nayarit. Again, I don't know what the deal is over there. I do know that here in Vallarta, it's been very difficult for them to get. Okay. Well, I think we have a mission in our hands, Joey. I want to do this. Let us go. And Claude immediately chimes in and says, can you take us? I think you have just unraveled and unleashed a little monster here. I think we should actually go there and take a look at the night of the iguana place before we get busted. And we're not even halfway through the news. We have so many things to talk about today, but I knew that this was going to be a chatty broadcast. Let me go back to the news because we have much more to munch on. For example, oh, it's time to switch over to the weather. I'm so glad that I write a script for these things. Boom. See, there's all these jewels that I want to share with you, and I get so lost in enjoying your company. Anyhow, it is 27 degrees, feels like 26 because humidity is super low, 27% humidity. I've never seen such low humidity here. We are talking about 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and the forecast for this weekend starts with today, a clear day through the day, high temperature of 29, low temperature 18. Tomorrow, Saturday, it'll be clear through the day with a high temperature of 28, low temperature 18. And Miss Maloya, what a great drag queen name. I love it. Clear through the day on Sunday with high temperature of 29, low temperature 19. Thank you for that, Matthew. Halfway through the weather forecast, I get to read these things that are just absolutely fabulous. I love your sense of humor, all of you guys, because it's Friday. It's Friday.
Thank God it's
It's Disco Friday. And back to the headlines. Okay, if you have not lived in Puerto Vallarta long enough, there was a time in which this stretch of the Malecón was vehicular. Vehicular? Cars used to be able to go by, you know? And then several administrations ago, it was decided that it would become a pedestrian thing. And ever since, all the businesses along the Malecón have been unhappy. Well, they're unhappy again. The business and bar owners on the Malecón now not only want to return vehicular traffic, they want to remove cyclists and skateboarders. For years, they have complained that they stopped being competitive when the Malecón became pedestrian only, and now that our mayor is off to better pastures to try to become a deputy somewhere else, the businesses on the Malecón have decided to get cozy with the interim mayor to see if they can influence somehow the possibility of not having skateboards and bicycles on the Malecón. And this is where I'm going to keep my mouth shut, but you know, if you're see, there goes my mouth. My opinion mouth wants to say all kinds of things. All I can say is the Malecón is a park. For me, it's beautiful the way it is, and I certainly hope that this is not. Oh no, I'm getting ahead of myself. Whoops! That this is not something that is going to happen. And let's see, what else? Yeah, well, it's time for the Spank the Monkey bit of news. It's difficult to talk about these things with a straight face, but it is unfortunate that Darío Alberto Bernal, Mexican consul in Leamington, Canada, has been busted spanking his monkey and removed from his post as a consul. What can I say? You know, it's not a good idea to be sitting in your office and turn your webcam on and all of a sudden decide to, well, it is unfortunate. Paramount Plus is coming to Mexico at 79 pesos per month this coming Thursday. The service will compete with Netflix, with Disney Plus, with Amazon Prime Video, and Apple TV Plus. I think we're going to become Coffee and Headlines Plus. Why not? Everybody else seems to be becoming a plus, or maybe we are going to start going to shop at Walmart Plus. Anyhow, Paramount brings successful series from Showtime, CBS Studios, Nickelodeon, MTV, Black Entertainment Television, and Comedy Central to the picture. So if this is your cup of tea, then you have more television to binge on. I personally keep Netflix on all the time and then just occasionally subscribe to the other services by the month if there is a series that a lot of my friends are talking about that I want to better understand what it is about. What else do we have? This has nothing to do with Puerto Vallarta, but it made me so sad. I had to share it. 35 members of the Teatro de la Scala ballet, plus an additional 6 employees, have tested positive for COVID 19. This makes me so very sad because as we're trying to wish for concerts and live performances and opera to come back to our lives, it is unfortunate that this happened. I certainly hope this does not sour other initiatives to bring live entertainment to our lives. I can almost taste going back to Guadalajara to the Philharmonic concerts because I used to get a lot of pleasure out of that. And let me take a look at what you are thinking about. Boom, bidi, bim, bim, boom, bam. Let's see. Miss Maloya, great drag queen. We've talked about that. Um, let's see. Let's see. Dave misses driving the Malecon. Fair enough. James drove the Malecon. Fair enough. Um, leave the uninformed opinion to us. Opinions to us every now and then, James. Just let me have my own little uninformed opinion, if I may. No, in all fairness, we try to be level-headed here at Coffee and Headlines, but every now and then, um, some things just, ugh, never mind. Paco Prime, I don't think so. Gay Guide Vallarta Plus. I would love to see what that looks like. Lorraine asks, was that the Mexican consular in Alberta? Paco answers, Lorraine, wait for the show notes. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Thank you for that, Michael. Let's not forget that Uber does not pay for gas and maintenance of the vehicle, so forth and so on. Yes, this is all a lot of the things that we don't think about when we go out pursuing these services. Paco Plus, seriously, you guys. I have a couple of extra. Uh, Actually, James, I may have been a journalist in my past. Today, I think of myself as a guy that reads news every morning and shares the news with other people. I actually try to be as objective as I can, and I appreciate the kudos. But at the end of the day, I am an English speaking local more than anything else, and one that happens to also speak Spanish, and one that derives a lot of pleasure out of creating connections for the rest of the English speaking community. But a journalist, no, no. I mean, there are a lot of people in this town that go around with that label and they say, well, I'm a journalist. And, you know, no. Let's just say I'm just part of this cluster, James, and I want to stay that way. Moving right along, I want to introduce you to a fabulous person. Um, Her name is Concepcion Leon Mora, otherwise known as Conchi León. She is a playwright, an actress, a director, and a Yucatecan theater teacher. Her work incorporates the traditional costumes and life of the Maya and the Mayan culture. And she's won a lot of awards, including a prize for her social work through theater by the Human Rights Commission in 2011. Now, why would I show you her photograph? Well, for starters, there's a little bit of a history here, of a story. When the pandemic started last year, I found this amazingly funny video of a gal doing a hammock workout. And at the beginning of the video, I was like, whoa. Was this lady serious? And halfway through it, I realized that she was being funny. This was a satire. But what I loved about the video, and unfortunately, unless you understand Spanish, you're not going to be able to experience it, is that halfway through the video, she starts talking about, when you're doing your exercises, you don't want your your Midlands to show to the neighbor. And she uses terminology that is very typical of Yucatan and slang for the private parts that is absolutely exquisite. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this video with you. And the only reason why I am sharing her now is because she is going to be one of the visiting actors and playwrights and directors that are going to be part of this amazing Spanish theater festival that starts today in Puerto Vallarta. We've talked about this yesterday. Again, it is unfortunate when one doesn't speak the language, but I just need you to know that there's a lot of thriving art initiatives going on in our city. And this is ultimately wonderful for everybody. She is one of several people that are going to offer workshops to inspire local artists to become better at their craft. And yesterday, I failed to mention that, of course, several local companies are going to be offering their own plays. For example, this weekend, Grupo de Teatro Dionisio is going to perform their penis anecdotes, or rather, they call it their member anecdotes, which is kind of like a penis equivalent of the vagina monologues. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And you may want to go. It's free. You may understand, you may not understand, but I just wanted to share that information with you. And last but not least, my friend Julie was so kind enough to send me this workshop this morning, Manifesting Your Desires, which is going to take place at the Mystic Circle Cafe. This is something that is going to be offered by Kennedy Morgan. Understanding and recognizing the flow of energy and how to work with it is the key to living a life by design. I know that Julie has been working with Kennedy for some time, and he is, as I understand it, a medium and a very intuitive person that helps us work with our own energy to manifest our desires. This is something that is going to take place this afternoon at the Mystic Circle Cafe. And I will be sharing the information in the show notes. So let me very quickly take a look at your final comments just to see what we have. Joey, I know that feeling. It's hard to keep my opinion to myself. Yes, it is difficult, and for me, it's an ongoing challenge because I want to be, we want to be as helpful as we can in creating connections, but sometimes our own personal experience adds its own flavor to the challenge. But we try. We certainly try. Matthew comments, San Miguel is full of many people who call themselves artists because they take a macrame class once a week. Yeah, it's difficult. You know, working with media. You know, having been in a magazine, working as an editor for so many years, we used to chuckle at the ladies that are frequently present at openings of events here in town, and they're usually gorgeous ladies with big breasts and sexy bodies, and they're wearing a band, you know, and they call themselves public relations. And in many cases, their ability to publicly relate is, well, there goes my opinion again. See, it's it's one of those things. Let's not even go there. I think I missed something here, Ronnie. I'm sorry to hear that you were in the hospital, and I hope you are on the mend. Uh, oh, here we go. Oh, thank you very much. Oh, Ronnie, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing well, and I hope it wasn't very hard on you, and I hope you are in the process of healing, both physically and emotionally and mentally. I cannot begin to imagine. I have friends that have had COVID, but um, you know, feel better, get better. And with that thought, we are going to wrap it up today, and we are going to send all kinds of positive vibes to dear friends that we have that are dealing with the imminent loss of a pet. We have a dear friend that is a member of this cluster who's been battling with the progressive loss of a longtime canine companion. And I am wishing you, you know who you are, I am wishing you all the love. If something happened to my Luna, I would be devastated. And if something happened to any of our friends health wise, I would be devastated. So let us send good energy out there today if we can. And if not, let us just smile at everybody we run into and let's see what happens. Have an awesome day. Have a great weekend. We will get together again tomorrow. Hopefully, you'll join us. And if not, hopefully, you'll come back sometime soon. Have an amazing day. Stay kind, stay happy, and stay in touch. Bye.